and gentlemen, it's an honor to be on the Tonight Show.
This is the 4936 podcast.
And Faithful, stand up, baby.
Faithful, stand up. You already know what to do, man. We won. We feels good, man. Victory Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. The whole week feels good, man. We vibing. I'm gonna keep saying that word as long as we keep going and keep rolling. Welcome to the Tonight Show, the 49365. You already know what it is. My name is Bia Mechi. As always, I'm with JB.
What's poppin', B? What's poppin', Faithful? I mean, we've been doing this podcast a long time, bro. And there's not too many times we're doing a podcast during NFC Championship week. We just got to think about that, man. We just got to think about it. We've been doing this thing for a minute, and it's NFC Championship. This is
It's intense.
It's very intense.
Like, it's real. It's a big deal. You know, it gets real. It's funny how, I guess what I want to start off with at the opening statement is, you know, how much have 49ers fans, and y'all tap in with us in the comment section. For those of y'all who are here, who are tapped in, make sure you leave a comment, all that good stuff. Like, subscribe. You already know what it is. Emojis, how you feeling? Victory Tuesday night, you know what I'm saying? The Tonight Show. How's everybody feeling? What you sipping on? All that good stuff. But I think about how many of the faithful, and we can start with ourselves, but, you know, the question is, have you changed your opinion about this team from what you thought, you know, not coming into the season, but what you thought? You can even start with coming into the season, but, you know, coming in, the midpoint, you know, the low point to where we are now, has your opinion changed on anything? The main topic is Jimmy G. I think the secondary topic is Coach Shanahan, right? And there may be other topics in there, but has your opinion changed on anything with the team? And then the next question to that is, you know, let's say you're somebody who, for example, didn't think we were going to do well, or didn't think, you know, Jimmy G was going to be the starting quarterback that can lead us to this point. And let's say we lose the game, right? Let's say we lose terribly, right? Does your opinion then revert back, or has your opinion changed, or is it week to week kind of thing, is what I'm saying? How solid are you in your convictions? You know, on the flip end, if Jimmy G has a great game and we end up winning by a lot, does your opinion change even more? Is it a week to week thing, or kind of what's your overall view on this team right now in terms of what's changed? So I'll start with you, JB. Like, is there anything that your opinion has changed on during this duration of this season?
I mean, Coach Shanahan, when we were in that losing slump, I really like we talked about it before, and I really like the narrative that I was, a revelation that I was having, was that all coaches kind of basically were all level, equal. You know, they all work hard. They're all, you know, they all spend hours and hours and hours studying the same game. So I'm thinking it's more so on the talent that you have. And, you know, during that losing stretch, I was just like, you know, all that Shanahan being above the rest, I just was like, nah, that's not true. You know, and I was kind of, I don't know if it was a coping mechanism, because I was just kind of like, nobody's a cut above the rest. Even Bill Belichick's not a cut above the rest. But as we've gotten to this point in the season, I'm putting Shanahan back to where he needs to be, and that's above the rest. And I feel very strongly about that by the way that we've played in these playoff games. And, you know, just look at these playoff teams that are left. Look at the playoff team that we just beat. We just beat Aaron Rodgers.
MVP of the league.
Huh?
The MVP of the league.
The MVP of the league. Some people talk about him like he's you know, he's one of the best ever, like ever, not just in this generation, like ever, one of the best ever. And, you know, we went to his house, beat him, number 1 seed, MVP. And we look at who we have at the person who touches the ball every time is Jimmy G. Like, okay, we could argue about, like, you know, people calling him trash and all that, whatever. At the end of the day, everybody could agree he's no A-Rod, he's no Josh Allen, he's no Patrick Mahomes. We could all agree on that. And we're able to beat these teams and be a real contender. Um, and I just feel like the players, people are getting better. That's the crazy part. It's like the people are developing into the. It's like the longer the season goes, it's like Jordan Willis. He's balling now. He's making big time plays. I don't know. It just feels like people are getting better, and like you say, you could get better or worse during the season. And I feel like he's coaching not just him, but the whole, program is coaching these players to be better.
Absolutely. On the Jimmy Garoppolo, I think there's a lot of different sides, and I think there's developing this camp where people are like, Jimmy is Jimmy, he's always the same. And I'm definitely a part of that camp and part of that community, a proud subscriber of that train of thought.
But hold on though, you didn't feel that way after week 18. I asked you.
Yeah, I give you that. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. So, I do feel like the clutch. I think, okay, let me break it down. My stance to clarify. I am in the camp that I think Jimmy G is pretty much the same. Sometimes it goes his way, sometimes it doesn't. But I think that and what are you really saying when you say that? I mean, everybody is who they are. I mean, Debo is Debo. I mean, Trent is Trent. So it's really not saying much. I guess it's just with him, it's so polarizing. People think that he has really bad games, really good games. But I guess, that comment is really just saying some of the things around him may change, the defenses he's playing, the execution of plays, whatever the case may be. But he's pretty much been the same kind of throughout. And I think when the Rams game in the regular season, week 18, when that happened, my opinion, like you said, I gained a little bit more of just you can't count him out. And I think what that game showed, the Rams game, is Jimmy G's a player that he's gonna perception becomes reality. So the more you string together these game winning drives and you're on a winning team and you're even if you've made mistakes to put your team in that predicament to get there, it kind of doesn't matter in terms of the highlights. Let's look at it that way. You turn on the TV, in the evening, you watch an ESPN, you watch an NFL Network, and at the end of the day, you see a game-winning drive led by Jimmy G. That's what you see, right? And like the perception becomes like, okay, it's clutch. I know there's the stats about the fourth quarter overtime game-winning drives led by quarterbacks, and Jimmy G doesn't have that big of a sample size in that regard, but percentage-wise, he's up there with some of the best quarterbacks in the league, which matches with what you've seen with the eye test with just some of the clutch drives and some of the clutch performances he's had in the regular season, right?
Do you think that the perception of him, like you think that's the perception of him that he's do you think that's the vast like that's the majority perception of him? That he's clutch?
I think there's definitely a contingency of people in the media, fans, etc., who are like, he's a winner. You got to give it to him. He's a winner. And there's other people, he's polarizing. So there's never going to be a consensus, but there definitely is a vibe. I mean, they were talking about on First Things First this morning about, basically saying, Nick Wright posed the question, okay, if you're talking about all this winning stuff, would you rather have
Josh Allen?
exactly Josh Allen's performance that he had or over Jimmy G's performance? And they basically didn't answer the question. And I think that goes to the point of like there's people that are strong in this camp, like, well, yeah, he makes mistakes, he's not perfect, he's not the best, but he's a winner. Speak for yourself. Another example, talking heads, mainstream talking heads, they both are pretty much saying that the world owed Jimmy G an apology, that he's underappreciated, like, so there is a strong national presence of, this is who he is. He's a winner. He's clutch. Just accept it.
But then on the flip side, you got a lot of people like, and like I tweeted this out earlier. It seems like the national media is
Yeah.
starting to do what Niners Twitter has been doing, and it's basically talking about Jimmy G and arguing or debating what you think. But then you got Mina Kimes saying that
What she said.
she said that Jimmy G is like, like basically compared it to, when you in school and you do a project and you guys get an A on a project, Jimmy G is basically like the guy in the group who didn't do anything, didn't do any work, but the group gets an A,
Yeah.
and so I just feel and then I was watching that podcast with Darius Butler and Antoine Bethea, right?
Yeah.
And they had Jimmy Ward on there, and they were basically, asking Jimmy about Jimmy, asking about the QB, and like, because that's a hot topic, and they were just like, man, what do Darius Butler was like basically saying that, he feels like a lot of people hate on Jimmy, like, what do you think? And then Antoine Bethea, you could tell that you could tell on the podcast that Darius Butler respects Jimmy G as a quarterback. And Antoine Bethea was like, man, like, nah, like Jimmy, he's saying to Jimmy Ward, like, Jimmy ain't gonna keep it real. That's his teammate. What you expect him to say? And so it's just like this, it's the yin to the yang with Jimmy G and people's thoughts on him. And that's it. This needs to be like something that we look at and be like, what, like, why is it so one way or the other? Like, why really is it that way?
Yeah, I mean, there's a number of factors. I always why is a good question, man. It's like why I ask that question a lot when you having these type of debates and these type of topics, because it's like, what's the point? What are you ultimately getting at? And I guess like to go off of like, answering fully my question about is there my opinion changed about anything, looking at Shanahan, which is the other element of this, like I definitely feel like there was that low point where we were calling the Mike son where, and it was rightfully so. All the losing, you start stacking it up and looking at the years and the resume, and you're like, man, did he just get this because of his last name? And when you look at it, how, like you said, I think one of the most important things about this season for him is the performances against, clearly the playoff wins. But the performances specifically, Matt LaFleur going against again, beating him again, in a way that he really shouldn't have. We were definitely the underdog for a lot of, reasons, and we had the better, things worked out for us. But, a lot of that goes to coaching. It wasn't perfect. By no means was it perfect, but you know what I'm saying? He did his thing. And then also Sean McVay, right? So these are like two people he worked with. We all know the stories. We all know how it goes, but he's handily beat them in big games. You know what I'm saying? And I think that means a lot to be like, you know what? Look, you could say what you want, but I am not, the Kirkland brand version. Not saying these guys are Safeway Select, but just saying like he is the authentic, the real deal.
Sherman, I don't know if you paid attention to Sherman's podcast last week.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, and he kind of alluded to that too, in terms of, he's saying it's not quite like the Belichick tree, but basically saying like, it's he brought up the McVay thing, saying it's no coincidence that he's 6-0 versus McVay these last few games, and with his assistants, and as a Niner fan, that obvious that gives you a lot of faith and hope, because it's like that's because on paper, I know we hopping all around, but on paper, the Packers were supposed to beat us. On paper, the Rams, you could argue, are supposed to beat us. I mean, they got Von Miller, Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald, Matt Stafford, Odell Beckham, Cooper Kupp. Like and we got players too, but it's like, so 6-0 though? Like, damn, what's that about?
6-0, that's the record. And but you definitely got to tip your cap to Shanahan, the way that the season has gone. I feel like one thing I take pride in as a fan of sport and a fan of like watching a team, and this goes for any sport, I really value a style, a unique way, trailblazer type energy of just, we have a way that we do things. We're zigging when everybody else is zagging. And what I mean by that, we talk, piggybacking off the conversation about, the assistants and beating them. There's a lot of, they always say football is a copycat league, right? Everybody's trying to copy, this style and that style. And, it's get this type of quarterback. No, it's like play this way. No, that now things change and it's play this way. And, you see a lot of that going on. And right now, I think, aside from I just seen Jesse Naylor post that the Jags hired Byron Leftwich to be their head coach, which if that's the case, then that's hella dope. I think that's a perfect fit. Somebody who was a top draft pick, being able to coach Trevor Lawrence, going back to Jacksonville for a number of reasons. I think that's a great, especially for a small, team like that. Like, I think it's good to get one of your own guys. But anyways, you have right now, aside from that job, there's like 10 openings right now, 9 openings right now. That's a third of the league. You know, it's like every season these guys are just cycling out coaches, cycling out regimes, trying to get the next best thing. Oh, you were on the coaching staff that had Mahomes on it. Well, anything that touches Mahomes, we want. Oh, you're in Belichick's camp. Oh, well, that's the only other option that we have to pick a coach from. Oh, you have like, you know, it's just copycat. Everybody wants a piece of whatever, you know, special magic is happening. And then you look at Shanahan, and I feel like the style of our football team, you know, even you could look at the quarterbacks who are remaining. And I know, again, polarizing topic with Jimmy G, but I think most people would agree, you know, we have the, you know, I don't want to say the worst, but, you know, at the quarterback position, you know, we're fourth, right? In terms of the remaining 4. And, you know, the style of play, I think if like you had to look at all 4 of the remaining teams, I think we stand out as the most different. You know, like we are clearly the most different team. And, you know, that's just been the case overall. That's the style that we have, the identity that we have is different. Like I said.
You know what's crazy though? Like my bad, but like
No, you good. Well, I was just saying, like, you know, it seems like to me we have our own style, something we can hang our hats on. And I think, like, you know, looking at the previous losing seasons that Shanahan had, that we've had under Shanahan, you know, a big part of it is just like you mentioned, like we're getting better as the season's going. Well, part of that is like health. A big part of that is health. I feel like the way we play and maybe the players we have, I'm not sure, but it just seems like it's a struggle for us to be healthy. You know, like the way that we have the players that we have, like it just seems like it's been a struggle to be healthy. But when you are able to, you know, get a season where a few things, you know, play in your favor, you know, football is a violent sport, dangerous sport regardless. So the people going to get hurt, all that type of stuff. But I feel the way we play is more conducive to guys getting hurt and things of that nature. So, you know, being able to have the injury history that we've had is not a surprise. You know, being able to sustain the season and have generally good health luck, like this is what happens. This is what can happen when the team is healthy. You know what I mean? And I feel like that, again, just bodes well and is another thing for Shanahan. Like if everything, you know, health-wise and everything works in our favor, we get a few lucky breaks here and there, like just playing our style, I'll be able to elevate, maximize the players that we have, really maximize all these guys, including our quarterback, who is not, you know, one of these last 4 remaining guys. He's now on that level of, in terms of a quarterback, I think most people would say. And so again, like just looking at Shanahan, you got to tip your cap to that, man. It's like, and it gives you more pride when it's like, this is how we're executing. This is how we've been able to win. You know, it's something different. And I feel like that's something that teams got to be scared about. The Rams got to be scared about.
But it's crazy though, because it's like it is something different. But when you think about it, it's really it feels like where I'm thinking right now. It feels like the way we win is so simple. It's so simple. It's like, and you just would think that this would be more. Like, I don't. It's like this
When you
is
say
our.
simple, what do you mean? Because
It's stop the run on defense.
that's
Like
not simple though. It's like, how do you
that's
do
what
that?
I'm
You got to
saying,
get the right.
but that is just stop the run. Like
No,
stop
I
the run.
mean, it's, you know, score more points. That's simple. Win the game. That's simple. But there's
No,
a lot
I
of things
hear
that
you,
go
but
into that.
I guess my point is this though. Like people always say that though. And it's like stop the run on defense and run the ball on offense. And that's the formula. And like
Yeah, but think
I guess
about how many
when I
coaches
say
don't want to do that.
simple, it's probably it's a simple concept, but I guess it's not simple to execute that,
Well,
I guess.
another thing about it, JB, is like not everybody, you know, Andy Reid is like, you know, when the league was a little bit different and more the way we play, more run heavy, more defense oriented, like just, you know, not even, you know, way back in the day, just, you know, 10 years ago, whatever the case is, when Andy Reid was going to those NFC championships one after the other, you know, he was a little bit of a zigger, you know, when everybody else was zagging. He was pass the ball first. He wanted to pass the ball 60, you know, 3%, 65% of the time. That's just how he was. And it's like, you look at like these coaches now, like that's what's in style. That's the trend. It's like, you know, being able to do that. So I think that when you're having a regular season, you know, I always talk about this with the Warriors, and I think it's a good example. And, you know, the NBA is a little bit different now, but the Warriors during their, you know, Steph Curry's emergence and kind of changing the league and stuff, I think it was very difficult for teams to play the Warriors on a back-to-back on a random Wednesday, you know, in Dallas in the regular season. Like, you're just not going to be prepared for playing against Steph Curry and Clay pulling up from where they're doing, where no other teams are doing that. It just makes it so hard when it's just a random Monday night. But then in the playoffs, when you have time to prep for that, and like, it becomes harder for the Warriors to play that style. They clearly still succeeded doing what they did, but it just made it a little bit more difficult because guys are more tuned in, honed in, all those sort of things. Similarly, you look at these teams that are pass happy and whatnot, and don't play the style of football that we have that may be simple, to your point. It can get hard to execute that and just switch up your whole energy once the playoffs start. Like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. Nah, you've been doing it one way the whole season. You're not gonna be able to do it as good as we do it because this is what we do. You know what I'm saying? And so I think there's something to that when you get to the playoffs and Shanahan being able to enforce his will and leave his mark on these guys, man. So yeah, man, it's just crazy to think about. I mean, going into Lambeau Field, not scoring an offensive touchdown. I mean, think about this, bro. If I would have told you we weren't going to score a touchdown, I mean, we're definitely going to lose. If I would have told you Jimmy G's going to throw an interception.
Hold on. After, especially after the first drive.
Oh, after the first drive, absolutely. If I would have told you, the Packers score 7 on the first drive, if I would have told you there's so many things you can pull up from that game where, again, the thing I kept harping on is we had a block punt and a block field goal. When does that ever happen for us? When does that ever happen?
Bro, and we never talked about this. And you would think, all right, the last week against the Cowboys, we had a costly roughing the kicker.
Oh my God.
Costly.
I mean, it didn't cost us, but it was.
But I mean, you're right, and it kept him on the field, and it could have been costly. And that was like in the playoffs, you like, oh my God, like, and I just feel like, as a fan, as a person, is like, if I was the coach, I'd be like, look, don't get close to the kicker. Don't get close to the kicker anymore. The next game after we do the ref and the kicker, like you said, we ain't blocked the one. That was the only, we never blocked the field goal this year, huh? Okay.
Well, I know Kinlaw blocked. When was that this year?
That was last year.
Yeah.
Or no.
That was the beginning of this year.
That was against the Eagles.
Yeah, Eagles, right? Yeah, Kinlaw blocked one. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways,
this was a different type of block. This wasn't. I mean, that like the Jimmy thing. We never blocked one like that.
Right, and then, but it's just like, with the punt block, and for them to block it and Jordan Willis to block it, it wasn't like a blitz or anything. It just was he just came up the middle and blocked it. But I don't know, man. It's just I don't know if Shanahan looks at this way, but I heard that one little statement of him showing the team the 2007 Giants going up to Lambeau before the game and talking about the Giants team and how they were acting like they weren't cold, like the Green Bay Packers seemed more cold than the Giants team. But I watched the Super Bowl that year yesterday on YouTube. That 2007 Giants team versus the New England Patriots, the undefeated Patriots, and I'm like, I wonder if Shanahan feels like we're kind of in that type of.
I do. I mean, we
like an Eli Manning. Eli Manning is not. He's not Tom Brady, and he wasn't Tom Brady back then. It wasn't like it was. They was talking about they didn't like his body language. It's different. He's different. They was talking about the only difference with him is in the regular season he turned the ball over hella much, but in the postseason he didn't really turn the ball over that much. He only had like one interception heading into the Super Bowl.
But I mean, the comparison is there. I mean, people were making it towards the end of the season even. I mean, I think the fans, like, we feel it. I mean, like, that's the example. Like, great defense, this, wild card team, 6th seed. They were 6th seed. I think they were 6th seed. Got hot getting in. Nobody wants to really play them. It's got some sort of it's an energy thing. You feel like the team is just really, everybody is, playing. I think another comment I was gonna make earlier, not to cut you off, but about Jimmy G and about that Josh Allen comparison and he's winning is like, there's something to be said for, I think, when you have a quarterback who is not Mahomes, Josh Allen, all these guys. You're going against Aaron Rodgers. You're going against, most games in the playoffs. Like, you're going to be undermanned at the quarterback spot. And I think the team, though, in the way we play, guys elevate themselves. Whereas I watch, like, sometimes when you watch the Bills play and teams that have these great quarterbacks, it feels like the rest of the team is going down because they're relying so much on that person to do everything that he does. That's just my personal opinion. It
Think
almost
so?
feels
I
like
mean, they shouldn't like what they say. Brady makes everybody like that. It's supposed to great people are supposed to
no, no,
make.
no, 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 no. Don't mistake what I'm saying. I'm saying the talent of these guys. I'm not talking about leadership and all. Tom Brady, I think, is like he's in guys' faces. Tom Brady's looked at as one of the greatest leaders that the sport has seen. I think that's a big reason why he's making sure everybody's on it. He's almost like a coach out there. And I agree that, yeah, great players should elevate. You always hear that. But I'm saying that guys like Josh Allen, but I'm seeing them and you see him on the sideline fired up, all those sort of things. But to me, the criticism is like, man, you look at their run game, you look at their defense and what it was supposed to be. It just kind of feels like Josh Allen, he's making all these plays and guys
They're relying on him. Like they're
yeah.
relying.
And
This is
whereas, yeah, guys like
our
Jimmy.
brand of football. Our brand of football is to Josh Allen's like the Buffalo Bills' is brand of football is to just score.
Right.
And you would think that they would focus on defense. You know, it's like the defense have nothing to do with him. Like, you know, the people that coach, they put in hours themselves too, but maybe just the narrative. I don't know what they say, perception become reality, but just the narrative of him, or just you seeing like, bro, you got this dude who is dynamite. Like he's a explosive play waiting to happen every single time. Maybe that does something to a team. maybe being such a raw quarterback and so explosive is a detriment.
Well, I mean, that's pretty much what I'm saying. I know it sounds crazy, but it's like I do feel like, you know, it's like people having that Josh Allen and Jimmy G, you know, which is a stupid debate, but like talking about it's like, you know, you couldn't see Josh Allen playing on our team, or you couldn't see like an offense where they're running the ball most of the time. You want to give your best players the most opportunities to touch the ball and you know, use, you know, their skill set. So I get it, but you can alleviate so much on Josh Allen, and that can actually make him more dangerous. You know, you can make at least an argument for it, right? So, you know, it's just something to think about, something interesting. You brought up the point about you know, special teams and how it's so crazy because, you know, we essentially, you know, like who would have thought, especially after the Dallas game and the huge mistake that they made in roughing the kicker, that we would just, you know, make great plays on special team to essentially win the game. And I was thinking about, I don't know if you saw the mic'd up with Trent Williams, but you know, the Hightower press conference that I watched, was it 2 weeks ago or whatever the case was, you know, I was saying he seemed very, you know, I appreciated hearing from him, and I was surprised kind of hearing from him at the press conference because he just seemed like he was saying all the right things. And you said he was a company guy.
I owe him an apology. I called him.
You called him the company guy. Yeah, you definitely did.
He just had that vibe, but man, hey,
But look, the point I was going to make is like Trent Williams. You know, he even said like he came to them, spoke to the special teams, and you saw in the mic'd up like Trent Williams was for a brief second he was talking to Hightower like, yeah, like I think it was after the block or I don't know what, you know, but he was just, you know, just big up in him like, yeah, like we believe in you type thing. And it's like, I just think like back to that conversation on, you know, our team and the guys being elevated and just everybody kind of like, you know, just having that energy, that special something. I definitely, you know, see that. And if I was a fan of the Bills, if I was a fan of the Chiefs, you know, it's tough for me. I always say these things with a grain of salt because like this is the team that I'm watching, and it's like I'm the
man, like we was talking about the dude who was doing the podcast with Croc, the Packers dude.
Yeah, Pete, I think. Yeah.
Huh?
Pete, I think his name was, yeah.
But just how confident he was in his team and because you know how emotional we are as fans, how badly we all want to win a Super Bowl. So you start seeing things, you start being like, wait, is this you? Is this you special season?
Yeah.
It can't be. That's how I am. It can't be.
Yeah.
I done had my heart broken too many times by you, girl.
Yeah, man. Hey, going back to that, you know, Jimmy, you know what I'm saying, debate comment. This always ends up being about quarterbacks. I mean, that's what it is. Y'all tune in, y'all tapped in though, because it's all Niners all day. So I know y'all scrolling, going through everything, and it's the same stuff, but different perspectives, and we still, you know, going at it. So just an angle. I was listening to Croc's show earlier this morning, and you know, he basically was basically made a big, I think it was a hot take, really. And I think he was saying it in a way where it was he wasn't putting all of his, he wasn't going out on a limb. He was kind of being conservative with how he was making the hot take. But essentially what he said was that, Jimmy G, he would rather have Jimmy G over basically any other quarterback other than like maybe 2 or 3
in the last
to end the game. Yeah, you think it's basically Jimmy G is like, more clutch than any quarterback in the NFL other than maybe like Brady and maybe another, and somebody specifically asked him about Josh Allen. And he said, yeah, I'd rather have Jimmy G in like the end of the game. And, especially with the context of how the Bills game ended, I think I see the point that Croc's making. He's not saying the whole 60 minutes. He's not saying from first quarter to the fourth quarter, but that's like the perfect, I should have joined into the show and brought it up. That's like the perfect example.
I feel like we gotta really explain that like hella more. You feel me? Because I feel like because it's like Josh Allen.
I'm summarizing what he said.
That's at the last drive of the game.
That's what he said. Yeah, that's what he said. I'm summarizing.
Like Josh Allen hasn't proved that he can't. Like I'm saying, like I don't know. That's why I gotta hear. We gotta discuss this one.
Okay, well, you go to the show. Make sure y'all tap in. Make sure y'all tap into the morning show from today and get the full context of what I'm saying. But I'm telling you what he said. That was what he said.
No, I heard a clip too. I heard the clip, but I didn't hear the full.
Well, that's what he said. and my point about that, it goes back to the whole why thing about like, what is the point of that hypothetical? Because you can't get a quarterback just for the last drive. You don't get to just have whatever quarterback you want and then just put Jimmy G in for the last minute. You want to play Trey Lance then for 55 minutes in the game and then just put Jimmy on the last drive if needed? Like, no, like it doesn't work that way. And I understand like he was just saying that, just making the comparison, like Jimmy G has been clutch. I think that was the point. But I think like with things like that, it's like you don't get to pick and choose. I'll take Jimmy G's quick release. I would take Jimmy G's clutchness. I'll take Pat Mahomes' arm. I'll take Lamar Jackson's legs. If you could do that all day and break down all these different aspects of people's game. Everybody has something that's a strength. That's something to be, admirable and favors other players. But like when you put everything together and consistently, and the potential of what you can do, and also the experience of what you have done. I mean, there's levels to this thing, man. There just is. And it's not to say that we cannot win with Jimmy G. Clearly we have, and clearly we are, and it's not saying that he's the reason for that. It's just saying the way that our team is structured, the way that we've been coaching, the way that we're zigging when everybody else is zagging, our style of play, it can work. Have faith that it can, because it definitely can. There's 2 more games left. And if you think that, like, who's to say we can't beat the Rams? We beat them the last 6 times we've played. So it's like there's no reason that we shouldn't be confident. We can get to that. We can maybe talk about the overconfidence that I'm seeing with some of the faithful and stuff like that, and what we really think about this matchup, because every game is individual, even though you have the history of what we've done. Yeah. But we know we can beat the Rams. Okay, it's not, you can talk about what we think is going to happen, but we know we can beat them for sure. And then we've already beat the Bengals, which is another team that's in this final 3 that we would potentially play. And then with the Chiefs, look, they're on a run. They're doing what they're doing. We saw, though, that the Chiefs that we saw in the regular season and, come back against the Texans that year and come back against the Titans and even, in the Bills game and all those sort of things, that wasn't the Chiefs that we made them look like when we played them in the Super Bowl. I know it's 2 years, removed, so there may be some differences with them if you go into the details of the team and things like that. But the point I'm making is that I'm not, I definitely would be, I don't want to speak too far ahead, but I'm not going to just act like I'm just terrified of playing the Chiefs. I'll say that. So,
yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm well, the way my anxiety set up with this Niners thing, I'm terrified of playing anybody who in front of us, because anybody who in front of us, I'm terrified of the Rams right now. Like you said, like just like, yeah, we should.
You're terrified?
Just, I mean,
terrified, bro.
Okay.
Somebody, please talk to JB.
Can I? I feel it.
Like, bro, what's good with you? Terrified of the Rams, the sorry ass Rams?
I was terrified.
Same sorry ass Rams.
My point is this. I was scared of the Cowboys. I was scared of the Cowboys. I was scared of the Packers. I'm just saying, like, these, it's like these dudes pose a threat.
Yeah.
Each team poses a different threat.
Yeah.
That could end us. And that's how
Yeah.
I feel. They could end us. Like they pose that threat. Now, that's how I feel. You feel me? That's just how I feel. It could be any team. Like I said, any team. But so Patrick Mahomes, he's scary. He scares me as a fan watching. But I'm not like we're in it. So we're in it means that we it's like you said, we beat the Rams twice this year, like 6 times, whatever, but twice this year. So we beat this team before. So
I think with the Rams, the first game that we played on Monday night, it was Monday night at home after we were, I don't remember the exact context, but we were in a bad, we needed that game. We absolutely needed that game to save our season, essentially. Like it wasn't that dire because it was earlier in the season, but still we needed that game. And I think the Rams were 7-2, and I think we were 3-5. I think we were 3-5, or 3-4 possibly. I don't exactly remember what our record was at that point. Somebody in the comment section tap in, maybe let us know.
3-5.
Say it again.
3-5.
Yeah, we were 3-5. I just watched that game last night. So we were 3-5, and we needed that game. It was on Monday Night Football, and it was a huge game for us. The Rams were a very, at that point, I think they were 7-2. Like I said, whatever the record was, they were a good team. Still vying for that number one spot in the NFC West. So the game meant something for them. All games mean everything. It's football. Every week is a huge game. But I just felt like it was one of those games where it just meant more to us. It meant a lot more to us. And I think, that showed. They made some mistakes, and they pretty much, I don't want to say they tapped out, but like that was the game. Like they made the mistakes that they made, especially Stafford, 2 interceptions to Jimmy Ward in the first quarter, and that was the game. Like it
I
was,
like how you said that though, because it was like both times we played them, we've been in two different.
That's the point I'm making. Like the next time that we played them, it was a desperate game for us. Like to like the actual, like we actually was a playoff game for us, and for them it was a weird spot because depending on how things played out, they could win the NFC West, but you want those home games, so you want to go for it. But like the hunger, you're already in the playoffs. You already celebrated that. It's just a different energy. And then on top of that, all of our fans came. And for whatever reason, I don't understand this part, but for whatever reason, they weren't expecting that. I don't understand that part because I've been to the Coliseum when, we had a bunch of faithful and was 90%, red there. Like I've been to, like, I don't know why they expected that it would just be like not a bunch of San Francisco 49ers fans there. It didn't make sense to me. But in any case, they weren't expecting it. And I think that was the icing on the cake for, the perfect setup for them being upset. Even with them being up as they were, like it just, the pressure got to them. And I say that in this specific game, the pressure looked like it got to them, and the environment, they were just shell shook. Like that's just how it looked like, And now with this game, they're juiced because they still got a home game. You know what I'm saying? They still got a home game even after being the 4 seed. Right, when that was the whole thing when they lost to us, was like, oh yeah, they're gonna get that first home game against the Cardinals, but now they're gonna have to possibly go on the road the rest of the playoffs. Well, no, it didn't end up that way. They actually got another home game, but the problem is it's not a home game. That's the issue for them. It's not going to be a home game. It's going to be, I don't think it's going to be as egregious as it was last time, but it's probably going to be like 50-50, 40. It's going to be 50-50, I would say, at least, right? And so that's something that they're going to have to deal with and address. But at the same time, in terms of the coaching, the players, they are going to be ready for this game like they've never been ready to play us in the past. They are coming with it in this game. Exactly. And they know that what we want to do is be physical. I watched the Rams game on week 18. I watched the one on Monday Night Football from this year. I watched the Rams game with Nick Mullins starting from last year in LA. I just went back and just was watching Rams games, this whole previous few days, and we just always out physical them. It's like we're just, and it's turnovers, it's things back and forth, but like at the end of the day, if you can easily do you remember the Rams game last year with Nick Mullins and how Jimmy Ward was playing in that game and how he was flying around the field and just knocking people?
I know we won that game, but I remember Richard Sherman got a pick that game, right?
Richard Sherman got a pick. But it was the physicality that we were playing with, man. Like it was just, you could just see that. And I was, watching, and I don't want to go on a tangent, but watching that game, I'm like, man, we really need a Mostert type player, if not Mostert, because that it just adds a dynamic to our offense that we just do not have. I'm sorry. Like, I know Debo's supplementing that a lot with, his role and what he's doing, but
Debo with
Mostert
like,
was just too fast.
Like Debo and Mostert, I mean, but hey man, things happen for a reason. If Mostert was in there, maybe we Debo wouldn't have, we wouldn't been able to see Debo for what he truly is.
I feel it, but I want Mostert. I mean, or that type of speed, that type of player. A lot of us thought it was going to be Jermichael Hasty and that. No, like
No. Mostert is in like Chris Johnson status.
Yeah, Mostert, I mean, it just adds an element. So, anyways, but I watched back those games and it's the physicality. They're going to be ready for it. But to what I was saying earlier, they're going to be ready for it. But when you're talking 4 quarters, the Rams, they strike me as like a front running team. They're going to come out, it's home. They're going to be the first quarter. They're going to be juiced up. Like every single play, they're going to be jumping around. That's all good and great. It's kind of like the same thing with the Packers game, which I remember we were on the FaceTime like during that game. It's like all these big playoff games, especially for the home team. Bro, do you remember the NFC Championship game in Seattle? Alden Smith strip sack on the first play of the game. All these big games.
Oh, we were up 10-0 in that game.
Say it again.
We were up 10-0 in that game.
All these games, though, these big games where all the energy and whether you're on the road or you're like, there's going to be the beginning of the game where it's just like all that's going to have to settle down at some point. You're going to have to play football.
For sure. People going to start getting tired. I mean, real, like you said, front runner. Like people going to deal with adversity and real adversity, and then you see what happens.
Exactly. So I just feel like this is going to be one of those games. That's how I see it going. I think the Rams are going to be ready. I think it's going to be very competitive at first. I think maybe the Rams, strike first. I'm not going to say 17-3 like last time, but I think I could see us being down early. But I feel like when the game settles down, our physicality, us being able to run the ball, being able to stay at it, just being out physical them. I honestly feel like they cannot. I'm not going to say they can't. I think they definitely have the players. They have the talent. But I do feel confident that, I feel good about this game. And I kept talking about that stat. People always say, and my coach, my high school coach always said, like, the hardest thing to do in sports is to beat a team 3 times in one season. That's what he always used to say. And they said that, like, it's happened 24 times in the NFL history where a team has basically faced another team after they've, been up 2-0 on the season. And 16 of the 24 times, 66%, the team that's, been up 2-0 has won. So it really hasn't played out where, like, there's more chances that team that's, down 0-2 gets that final, first win and breaks through.
Check this out. So you're pretty confident then.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident. I could see us losing as well. Like, I think that's the big shout out to all those fans getting $1,000 tickets and whatnot. Like, man, like, but yeah, I could see it. I mean, the Rams are a good team. We've been
they're gonna be hungry in this. It's one game. Yeah. All them games in the past, they don't matter, and they got players over there, and they don't matter.
On an emotional level,
I feel it could be in their minds, but at the end of the day,
no, but
we don't know how this game is going to play out.
There's a reason though too that we've won a lot of these games. I know they're all individual, but like to the emotional aspect, yeah, maybe this is all those games don't matter. I gave you the context of maybe why they were like sleeping a little bit for some of those games, but this game they're going to be up for. But at the same time, there are some matchup things with us playing them and the physicality that we bring that they have had. Like, I just feel like we always do a pretty good job against Aaron Donald. It just that's just I'm watching these old games and yeah, he's Aaron Donald. He's gonna make plays. They got Von Miller. He's stepping up. OBJ stepping up. Like, they have a lot of weapons, a lot of things to be
in that game against
physicality.
The game against Nick Mullins, he wrecked it in that game.
I mean, he had a lot of turnovers though, and
no, I'm saying like Aaron Donald, he made that play where he stripped like Mostert and they got like a touchdown off of it.
Yeah, so but I do feel like that's the aspect that it does matter. All those other games do matter because there are some matchup things, and then again, I think they're going to start off hype, but I think as the game goes on, whether they're up, we have such a psychological advantage over them because we've done it before just a few weeks ago where we've come back in the clutch and beat them, and they're at home. There's so many aspects where the pressure to me is still on them, like very much so. on their home. Like, this is
yeah,
going to be an
yeah,
embarrassing loss for them if they're not able to get it done, and
I
the
mean, they're
Niners take over
favored.
that stadium.
They're favored in Vegas, right?
By 3.5 points, which is you get
Okay.
3 points for being a home game automatically. So they're not. I mean, they're favored slightly, but yeah.
All right. I don't know. I just feel like everybody's talking about the Rams. Everybody's talking about the Bills and Chiefs game. Everybody's talking about Aaron Rodgers retiring, and it just seems like not really that many people talking about the Niners. So, in
Well,
terms of
what do you take from that? Like I said, we are the underdogs. That is the thing, and that's perfect for us. We wouldn't want it any other way. That fits
yeah,
the archetype of our team. That fits the chip on our
like
shoulders that
I
we have.
wonder what the odds are for all four teams to win the Super Bowl. Like, I wonder, like, are we the last, or
Yeah, of course we're last. What do you mean?
we might be over the Bengals?
Possibly. Could look that up. I didn't realize I was still sharing my screen. We got Joe Buck and Troy Aikman calling the game. I wouldn't want it any other way. I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm not
Oh,
here to hate,
oh
be
man,
negative.
you just made my scary ass even more scared. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman calling the NFC Championship game that we in.
I mean, shoot, they called the Cowboys game that we won. They called the Rams game the first time that
NFC
we won.
Championship game
Okay, whatever.
against
Anyways,
against a division
I
rival.
feel you're just scary, bro. I feel good about having. I like having Troy and Joe on
No,
the call.
I would too if we
Because
win.
they just make it real NFC, real
Yes,
like
real NFC, real
yeah, man,
NFC.
they make
It's
it
like
real NFC. The Tony Romo, what game did he do for us? He did the
we did the Dallas one.
the Dallas game, right? Did he do the Dallas game?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Dallas game, right? They did the last Packers game. I was a fan of Tony Romo when he first came in, but like I feel like just that game, the Dallas game, and then also the Chiefs Bills game, I just feel like he was just doing too much. Like every second watching that game was like, oh man, this is these quarterbacks and this like it was like, okay, bro, we get it. Like you don't got to every single play, like just I don't know. That's just me. But I'm juiced that we got who we got, you know what I'm saying, for our game, the big game. But yeah, it seems like you a little scary. I feel like you got to sip some vibe out this week.
No,
I
I'm
don't
for
really
sure
know.
scary, bro. I'm for sure scary, man.
Yeah.
I'm just like I said, man. It's for the fact of what's got me psychologically is that we ain't won a Super Bowl since 1994. So it's
I just feel like I wasn't expecting it at all this season. And I guess you could say the same thing for 2019. I wasn't expecting at all coming in when we were 4-12 the year before, but I just feel, it's different here because again, we didn't have high expectations from how the season went, but we do have a veteran team that is like, it's just, I think a lot of the stars are aligning for us. And I just feel like the best thing I can say is when we played the Ravens, I felt like we were definitely the better team, but it didn't matter because they had that mojo. Ray Lewis retiring, all these like storylines and intangible things where it's like you just see like some galvanizing energy. The Giants, look, the Patriots were undefeated, but the Giants were just destined to ruin that for them. They had these matchup issues, the mojo that they had, the team camaraderie they're playing with. I see like sports as being all about stories, man. That's what it's about, the story of it, as a fan. And it's like the story of this team. I just feel like the championship pedigree, the playoff experience pedigree. Think about George Kittle being on that sideline saying, I will be back and I will be back with vengeance. You will not get the best of me. And for 2 years later, for the following year, for us to come back and after the season we've had to bounce back, fight back, sneak to get in and play the team that helped get us in, that we've beat 6 times in a row at a glorified home game right before the Super Bowl, which is going to be in the same exact stadium, which we've been through 4 times this year because we also went to the Chargers game, which I went to for preseason, right? This is a stadium we're very familiar with this year, and the Super Bowl is going to be there. And we might get a chance to go back against that same team that he wants vengeance from. I just feel like the way that things have played out, man, and drafting. I mean, what is the league going to think if we traded all these draft picks for a future, Trey Lance quarterback of the future, right? And we still end up going to the Super Bowl with the quarterback that we traded him for. Like that's just an embarrassing thing that we would do on the league. Like this is how you do it. And I was thinking about it. This kind of brings up a point I was thinking about earlier. about during the season and how things switched up. A lot of times I remember fans and maybe even myself are saying, like, when you looked at the Alex Smith, Pat Mahomes comparisons of that situation, a lot of people are like, oh, well, Alex Smith is a lot better than Jimmy. He was efficient. Well, Alex Smith got knocked out the first round of the playoffs, and we're in the NFC Championship game. And that's another thing in Shanahan's belt of like, nah, this is the way that I wanted to play it, and this is clearly how it's gone. You can say like, oh, well, if Trey was there, we could, but you can say whatever you want to say, but this is what we're actually doing and what we've done. So you got to give respect there, man. You got to give props there.
The NFC Championship, bro. Like NFC Championship is a big. That's like, I don't know, man.
You get a trophy for that. You get confetti for that. You get a trophy for that, and you get confetti for that. You know what I'm saying? And this is where we're at again. And I'm just expecting Debo and Kittle to go crazy. I'm expecting them to go. I'm expecting them to go crazy.
And you know who was like, okay, you're back, like for real. Fred Warner.
Oh yeah, Frederico. I think
the best linebacker in the league. That's what they was saying.
We ain't done yet.
I think we ain't done yet. For real.
I think we ain't done yet, man. That's how I'm feeling. I think. I don't know, but I think there's a feeling when you got a tagline, you got something special. So again, I just feel like the energy, the stars are aligning, the football gods. One thing I want to say before we get off this, man. I know you were very scary coming into those games. A lot of faithful were. We all were to a certain extent, right? A lot of people go to the spirits. I know on the show before I've had the wine out and stuff. Right now I'm sipping that tea. I want to make sure we show the other aspects of different lifestyle. I mean, we could be healthy out here. Shout out to my beautiful fiance making this wonderful tea. You gotta stay teed up. But for this past game against the Packers, we were getting real spiritual before the game, man. I had to take you to church, man. Like we had to sing.
Yeah,
we had to sing a few gospel songs. Get in the spirit, and it seemed like it was the hand of God that was Jordan Willis touched his body and made sure that we got that win done, man. So I don't know.
That was a spiritual game, man. That was a spiritual
game. Period.
That shit was like, man, I never felt that happy, like in a game, like, and that's the thing, guys. If we don't win the Super Bowl, we've had Super Bowl moments, all right.
Yeah.
And the Rams game and that Packers game.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. That's what the Harbaugh era taught me, that you can have and that was one of our podcasts. One of my main the stories, my main points from that era was like, even if you don't win a championship, you can have championship moments, because we had so many guys that did everything from Bowman to Willis to Cap had moments to Gore. I mean, we so many guys, man, championship moments, and it didn't work out. But I'm hoping that this is not going to be the case. I'm hoping that this is different. In this era, we have a different story. And I just feel like we do, bro. And it's okay. I don't feel like I'm jinxing the team, bro. Whatever I think, it doesn't have a damn thing to do with this game.
What you think and how confident or not confident.
It doesn't have a damn thing to do with the game. And I just feel, as a fan, man, I'm not gonna lie, like I just feel free this postseason. I keep saying I feel like we're paying with house money, but then as we've won these games, it's like I just feel so confident. I'm not saying that we're just gonna win. Again, I feel like the game is gonna be a close game, go either way, but I just feel confident. I don't feel.
I feel you. It's just I just
negative energy.
I just desire this so much, bro.
That's fine. You could, but that's fine, bro. What's wrong with desiring things and wanting your team to do well? Like having the vision of like, we're gonna make it happen and making
desire. How I look at it, desire is
the Buddha
for me. It's like it's like, bro, that gets you scared, because it's like, I want this so bad. So then you like, bruh.
Yeah, but you have to. I gotta send you some what's it called, Abraham Hicks videos, man. You have to like visualize it. You have to manifest it. You have to bring that energy into.
I hear you on that manifestation shit. That's the same stuff that Aaron Rodgers was talking about. Manifesting.
Okay. See, that's what a pessimistic person does. They bring it back to some negative thing. They want to. You only see the negative. There's nothing I can really say you.
No,
that's all you can see.
I look at it.
You can also look at the other side and look at Fred Warner and him saying that I think we're not done yet. You can look at the other aspects on our side of Jimmy knowing that this is a special. I don't know if this is going to be the last run, but I'm going to go all out with it. And it's just, embrace that
Hey,
energy.
hey,
Man.
hey, bro. I'm excited, bro. I'm excited. I'm excited. Like I'm
All
excited,
right.
and I think we have. Like I know. Like I said, I know we got a chance. I know we got a
Yeah.
shot. It's just I know that they got a shot, and
Well, I'm not worried about them. I'm not worried about they. I'm not worried about,
well, then
that's all
yeah,
that
but
that's all that
that's what I'm
they
saying.
is.
Hey,
The
but then
haters every year.
let me be
Hey,
worried. Let me worry about this, and you don't worry about it.
okay,
We,
fine.
we
That's
just got.
fine. That's fine. And you're fine and you're entitled to how you feel. I just feel like you know, this is a this has been a good I'm riding the high still, man. Faithful. I'm riding the high. Like I'm not I came in this week just, feet kicked up watching these shows. And like JB said, I was telling my lady, I'm like, you turn on the TV. I watched I had a chance to take a quick break in the middle of the day. I put on Speak for Yourself, I think it was, and they were talking about, wait for it, Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. Still, I'm like, why are you talking about the Cowboys when there's 4 teams still in this thing and they're not one of them? Every day they talk about the Cowboys. It's just crazy. It never ceases to amaze me. Like what? Like now? Anyways, so they're out here talking about the Cowboys, but it's no frustration for me because like I know this is who we are. We're that underdog team. We don't have that prototype quarterback. We don't have we don't play like these other teams. We don't play that 2022 brand of football. We play our brand of football. And like I said, we're zigging when everybody else is zagging. I feel special about this team, and you're completely entitled. However you feel, Faithful. You stressed, you scary about it, you confident, you overconfident. I'm seeing a lot of overconfidence. I wouldn't say I'm overconfident. I'm just optimistic, and I'm just like riding the high.
Bro, hold on, bro. I got optimism in me too, man. Don't I see that you be? I don't like that, man. I don't like that. I don't like that.
All right, yeah. JB's
I don't like that.
optimistic.
I don't like that, bro. I don't like that. I don't like that.
JB's optimistic. I guess what I'm saying is
I
that
said I have it in me too. I have it in me. I'm not 100% optimistic though.
okay.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, I just feel like if it is in there, just like kind of let it out because it doesn't mean like I'm not being overconfident. It's just like, I feel like, and again, you're entitled to how you feel, but after that Packers game, I'm still on that high. I'm, definitely on the Rams now, but it's like I'm just vibing, man. I'm enjoying being in the spaces on Twitter, talking to various fans. I'm enjoying like seeing the content that I'm seeing that everybody's producing. We have the best content creators as a faithful. We have a plethora of people to reach out to and to tap in with and to consume. And it's been a joy this week going through that process. And I know like when I talked to you, whether it was, I think it was yesterday, about everything, you just seem like your focus had shifted to LA and you're like, man, like I'm stressed. And I was just like, man, like, it's just I feel it, but at the same time, it's not necessary because I feel like they're gonna do what they're gonna do, and I think it's gonna be in our favors. But we'll see. What do y'all think, Faithful? Y'all think we got this game? Y'all think we got it on lock? How y'all feeling about it? Is the energy good? Are the vibes right? Y'all let us know. Tap in the comment section, and we appreciate you for watching this video. Make sure you like, subscribe, all that good stuff. This is Frontline Sports Media, and this is the Tonite Show with BMetchy and JB. My name is BMetchy, and as always, I'm with JB.
We out. Hey, Faithful, stand up, baby.
Stand up and let's get this win. The Rams, if you in LA, if you in the area, hey, let's make it SoFi. Make that Levi South, as they say. I need to get a better nickname for that, but let's take it over like we do. Me and JB was at that first game, or I should say the last game that we had against them. And it was crazy. So for all the faithful going, man, like it's going to be the time of your life. Enjoy it, appreciate it, stay safe, and stay faithful. All that.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor to be on the Tonight Show.
This is the 493